Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been about 2 weeks since I posted my last video, and I kind of didn't make a weekly one because I was going through some stuff, but it's gone through and I'm in a better place now. And I'm trying out a couple things too. For one, I have a new camera angle. I'm doing it slightly I realized I was talking down to people, and metaphorically, I didn't want to give off that energy. So I was like, you know what, let me raise it. It's like a conversation with someone that's maybe a little shorter than me. It's a little below my eyes. I think this is a lot better, and it feels more like I'm talking to someone rather than whispering down below me. So usually I go into these videos with a subject and bullet points of exactly what I want to hit on, but I have a different idea because of the stuff that I was going through last week and a lot of the conversations that I had to put myself in. I think those are going to be really nice to share with you guys because a lot of these conversations were with my friends, and it helped them, and it also helped me to say out loud, and it helped hearing their side and etc. And I'm sure there's someone going through the same thing as me. So okay, so I'm not going to put my business out there, but a vague summary, I was just in a position where I had to cut my losses. I have been in a position where I had to kind of just grieve. I had to grieve, and I had to put myself before God many times in many different contexts. And this is off subject, but my relationship with religion is very unique, and there could be a whole time where I basically explain that, but I don't want anyone to make assumptions off of what I believe based off of my videos or what I have on a shelf or what I'm wearing. Anyway, I had been talking to my friends about life and about God and death and acceptance and our lessons and all these different things, the great regular conversations that you might have about that. But for example, the main theme that kept coming up, and it was between the both of us. For example, if you have a friend that is doing a lot of bad things, if you have a friend that is one of those people that know what's right, they're not oblivious, they know what's right, they know what to do better, and they think that they're a good person, but they do things that are completely selfish. If you had a friend that thought it was okay to drink and drive, they know it's not okay. They know it's illegal, they know it's gonna hurt someone, but they think it's okay, as in they justify it and they do it, and they're oh, I don't care about whatever, or they just don't think about the consequences, or maybe they just are oh, I don't value my life, so they put other people's lives in danger. And being friends with that person, you kind of have the moral dilemma of, okay, I love this person and I've been friends with them, but this is crazy. And do I stay friends with them and continue to support them and look it over and hope they change over time? Or this person's gotta go. At the end of the day, I don't care how much I love them, they're not a good person, and I have to choose what's right over my obligations. Personally, I think that there is a clear answer. I will say, first off, the answer is not exactly clear depending on what kind of person you are. It really just depends on where your values are. If your values are stronger on loyalty and family and bond and whatever, stronger than having the right morals, you're gonna think this is okay. The people that are oh, it's family though, you put blood first. No, if your family member is a rapist or a murderer or something, an abuser, you don't. It does not matter. You literally do the right thing. You help whoever needs to get help, you get them the help that they need, or maybe they need to go to jail. I feel like personally the answer is clear. And if you can't accept what I think on what the right answer is, then just think about God. If you believe in God, God would tell you to do this. God does not say to put a family member above God. Plainly, God doesn't say put a friend above God. God doesn't ask you to put a boyfriend above God. God tells you to put God above everything else. So if you're choosing this and wanting to be loyal or committing to your friend, or you feel guilty, maybe it's not even caring about what you want, for the family status or whatever relationship status. You just genuinely want to be friends with that person and wait and whatever. The right thing to do is the right thing to do through and through. And I like to use this example to my friends. I like to tell them, once a liar, always a liar. And a lot of people are oh, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, it's a generalization, but think about it this way. If you have one parent that always tells you the truth and that has always told you the truth and been honest with you, and then you have another parent that lies to you, maybe not every time, maybe not even most of the time, but they lie to you a lot. When you have a question and you want an honest answer, and you're literally I want an honest answer, I want the most honest answer I can get, you're not gonna go to this parent. It's not because you think, oh, they're lying lying every single time, but it's like, if you are a not credible person, you're just a not credible person. So I would go to a credible person. I don't care if you're a parent, like, you're just not credible. I don't know. I feel like some people disagree with that, and the people that disagree with that are the people that put family above what's right. And I don't know. Can't do that yet. Anyway, but it was a great conversation to have with my friend, because we both came to the realization that, like, you always have to do the hard decision, you know? And life is just completely all about tests, and almost any single time that you think it's easy for you, you're probably not doing the right thing. And I kind of just talked to her about having to put a foot down. Like, you don't want to not only enable someone, not that you're necessarily enabling that friend, but you don't want to be in a position where you will feel guilt if something happens. Let's say she got into a crazy car accident. Let's say that this friend hurt people. Like, you're gonna feel guilty because you're gonna be like, oh my God, like, I knew she was and I didn't do anything. And it's like, that's so unnecessary. Because here's what you can do. If you take the decision to go, hey, I care about you, but I care about this more, and I need you to care about it so I can continue to respect all of this and be friends with you and whatever. And basically let them know that, like, hey, there's something you're doing I'm not okay with. I don't care how nice you are to me. I don't care how amazing and trustworthy you are and how safe you keep me. At the end of the day, I think that you are putting other people's lives at risk. I think you don't care about others. I think you are willing to hurt other people. And just because I'm not getting personally affected by it doesn't mean that I think it's okay. And I don't want to be your friend and be there for you and show you that I'm basically reassuring you that no matter what you do, you're always going to have support. And it's like, that's not right. That's not right. You can't only care about yourself or care about a select few lives and think that your sympathy is worth a reward. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't like a good way to put that. It's just ultimately the strength of doing what's right. I don't know how else to say it, honestly, but like, once you just push yourself to do it, it's freeing. Like, I think a lot of people are just scared of that confrontation. And we kind of had a conversation how there's two types of people in the world. I am one type and she is the other. And we were talking about how, like, we've definitely learned from each other. We used to be very close, and we used to like get so much time around each other that like we could kind of finally see the other side to like a personality, and we learned the right things from each other, and I think it's been great. But anyway, so this person, I will be so blunt and honest with anybody, whether it's a friend. Like, if I'm with a friend and they say something that like straight up was catching a stray, I will 100% say something. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be like super confrontational and be like, oh, like, you have a problem, but just don't let it slide. If someone disrespects you in a certain way, maybe they don't even intend to, but if it makes you feel that way, you have to say something, you have to do something, or else it's gonna happen again. And why would I choose to hang around people that make me feel this ugly? I don't have to go after them, but why would I actively surround myself with people that make me feel disrespected? Because I'm gonna be a reflection of my surroundings. And if it's in my reality, if it's in my life, and if it's what I see every day, the people that I go to for support, I'm gonna put that as my expectation. I deserve better than that. Probably mention and be like, what did you mean by that? Or like, why did you say that? And they can either have a perfectly good explanation, and if they do, and if they tell you exactly why they said it, you can be like, huh, like, let me consider that. Like, did I deserve that, or was that still rude? And then go from there. Or it'll be the other side, and this person is just being an ass, and you just got them in the act, and they're gonna be like, it was a joke, and they won't even know what to say. But then you're gonna learn right then and there what kind of person this is, and what they actually find funny is just the expense of your wellness or your personality. And also, for example, if like a guy came up to me, and let's say a guy wanted to get to know me, I have an expectation already made. I know the type of person that I deserve to be as my partner. I know the effort that I'm willing to give, so I know the effort that I deserve to receive. And when a guy comes up to me with like an energy, or not even just an energy, they can just say something. If I'm not having it, if I know that there's no reason I should entertain this person, you don't have to be mean. The whole point is you need to learn to stop giving your energy to people that don't deserve it, because it's pulling from your own energy. If I were to let this guy, looking him up and down, maybe he looks younger than me, maybe he's shorter than me, and I wouldn't be okay with that. Or like, maybe, I don't know, maybe you just already know. You're good. You just know you're good. I don't need to sit there and feel guilty and feel like I have to entertain this conversation because I feel bad. I don't feel like I have to, let's say he says some nasty comment or some sexual remark. I don't have to be nice and be like, I'm gonna be right then and there, be like, what did you just say? Or like, walk away or something, or tell them off. I don't know. But never just let it happen and pass through you, because even if that person walks away and you never see them again in your life, like getting catcalled or something, like, you sit with that guilt and you literally think to yourself, like, why did I let them do that? Why didn't I say something? You think about it later. It's like, just never have that opportunity. Just react. Don't give your energy. Don't donate your energy, sorry. Give them energy if they need it back. Like if they're saying something nasty to you, or if every single time I get catcalled or stared down, I do not care. I will literally flick this person off. I will literally turn and size them up and down, or I will say something. I'll be like, what are you looking at? Or like, what's your problem? And I've had to do it so many times, whether I'm walking around in public or just at the store or especially at the gym. And do I think anything's gonna happen? Maybe one of these days someone will fight me for it. But like if he was willing to fight me for it, he was willing to do a lot more for a lot less too. So I'm not really, this is not my problem. But whenever someone does something that disrespects me, I always let it known. And because of that, I just don't let people disrespect me. Because once I call it out, they will either know not to do it ever again, or they won't like it and they'll just stop talking to me. And then that's perfect because this person's not in my life anymore. Why would I want them to be in my life if they think it's okay to disrespect me like this? You need to make boundaries, and you can have morals and you can have moral virtue and a set of values, but if you don't have boundaries on them, what good are they? Your intention is not the only thing that's going to save you from this life. It's your intention and your work. You can just sit there and go, oh, but I do think this is bad, but I do something about it. Like, use your values for other people. Use your values to help other people, whether it's helping yourself in a public way so other people can learn from it, help you, or help themselves and apply it on their own, like the way that I might influence my friends, or just help them directly and go out of your way to be a confronting person that if you see someone else getting talked to the wrong way or getting disrespected or about to get hurt, you do something. I genuinely don't think that I've ever been in a situation where it was in public or in private where I saw someone who was getting like maybe abused, verbally abused or slightly physically abused, or getting disrespected and cussed out. Like even at the stores, or like when I see someone talking rude to a manager, I'll step in because I've worked in a place like that before. Like I know how it feels as the worker, and if this person's being out of hand, I know that the worker can't say some stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and call them out and tell them that they're wrong, or they're being rude, or that they need to calm down, or to just de-escalate the situation. You just can't be afraid to not care. You don't have to be a people pleaser. You don't have to make everyone feel like it's okay, because then what that does is you keep wondering, oh my God, like you start with one person that you let get away with doing something, like this one friend. And the next thing you know, all of your friends are the people that just start confessing everything that they do wrong to you. They just randomly are like, yeah, I think it's okay to drink and drive. Yeah, I think it's okay to have lustful intentions and cheat and whatever. And then you're just like, oh my God, like why, first of all, why don't my friends feel so comfortable to be saying this to me? And then the other one is, why am I just surrounded by so many people that have these bad intentions? It's because you attract that. When you welcome it and when you don't fight it off, maybe you're not welcoming it, but when you don't fight it off, you attract those types of people, because those narcissists or just plain sinners, just bad people, those people are searching for the weakest of the good because they want to feed off of the energy of the good person. They literally look up to this good person. They'll look for the weakest that will accept the things that they're doing so they can see how much they can get away with. Like they start pushing their boundaries and pushing your limits to see how far they can go with disrespecting you without you calling it out. Okay, also I never explicitly explained, but then on the other hand, is this side the person that is more likely to feel guilty and to feel like they have to people please and be nice. So when these types of people come up, when it's a guy that they know they don't like, a guy they know they don't want to talk to, they feel like they have to be nice, and you know, they might give them their contact or even just tolerate them saying something disgusting, and then they feel guilty later because they're like, oh, I hate that I just gave the satisfaction to this guy of having a conversation with me and being able to talk to me about it. Anyway, moral of that story from the conversation that I had this past week or whatever is just know what you want and know it so confidently and have your values so secure. You can't sit here and say, I have values of valuing my family and whatever and committing to them, and then I have values of following what's right. You can't just say that like it's both. Yes, it can be both, but you have to be able to put one above the other, or else you're going to keep making these decisions where later you're like, I shouldn't have done that, or oh, why didn't I say something else? Once you stick to your values and you create your values and you're like, no, this is always a priority. Yes, family, yes, husband, yes, kids, but this always first. The right thing always first. Once you form it so strongly and you know like, okay, this is what I'm going to stick to, this is what I'm always going to support, you never have a second thought or like a hesitation to just say something in the moment, whether something's happening to you or whether something's happening to someone else right in front of you. It's like your body just has like, it's a second nature. It's your like innate action is to just step in and do the right thing because you just genuinely think it's the most right thing. It's important to have these conversations with yourself of, what do I prioritize the most? What do I want to follow the most? You have to sit down down and analyze these things. Confident people aren't just confident people because they're born confident or people make them confident. They make themselves confident because they choose to believe something. They choose to stick to something. You can hear compliments your whole life. If you don't believe it, you're not going to be confident. Nobody can make you a confident person. It starts from you going and reflecting yourself and thinking, okay, what do I actually believe? What do I actually think is true? What do I actually know? And what am I going to do? How am I going to apply it to make sure that I always stick to this? That's how you're going to be confident, not only in yourself, but you're going to be confident with your friends. You're going to be confident in setting those boundaries and setting those expectations. And once you do this, everything will filter through. And you'll literally be at a point where you started with like all these mutual friends, all these mutual relationships, all these people. You have someone on your phone that you haven't talked to for 4 years, but because you ran into them at a party one time and you had a conversation with them for 20 minutes, you're like, you never want to unfollow them. You're like, no, but like I know them. Just cut all these ties. Like you don't need to. This person has not cared about you. They have not reached out to you. They've not tried to do anything to be friends. They will still be alive. You cut them off, you let them go, they will still be alive. You'll still be able to find them if you really need to, I'm sure, but you won't have to. It's not gonna, if you didn't need to talk to each other in 4 years, you're not gonna talk to each other in the next however many years. There's gonna be no reason. And when you constantly have all these people that you're pleasing subconsciously and all these like soul ties to all these people, you gotta start cutting the rope and cutting the rope with your standards. Like, hey, if you don't regularly talk to me, if you have not talked to me in 6 months, if you've not talked to me in a year, if you have never asked me this, if you've never initiated blah, blah, and like, if you don't disrespect me, if you don't blah, when you make all of these standards and expectations and then you look at everyone and then you just apply it and you cut everyone off that doesn't fit them, you are gonna feel so freed. And I know this because I literally had to do this like last July. And even though I've always been the whatever side person that's more like this, I still had those holes in me that were still like, I value the commitment thing because that was also before I found God. But then after I found God, I was like, no, like I should never put a friend above God's values. I have to do the right thing. I have to do the right thing. And yeah, I know what it's like to be in both situations, but yeah. And this went so far to a point where I had to cut off my sisters at one point because as much as I loved them, I kept letting them return into my life because I kept willing to forgive them and kept letting them grow over time. And I waited years, decades. And it got to the point where every time I hung out with them, I felt worse about myself when they walked away. And it took so long for me of going through it and through it and through it, no matter how much effort I put in both verbally and physically to get the same result, to be like, I'm not the problem. And as long as I keep holding on to these people and keep letting them disrespect me, I'm going to think this low of myself because I did. And then when I made that boundary expectation with myself, I cut them off and they filtered out. And then it was months I didn't go talking to them. It was months I was ignoring everything. But the thing is, they weren't even reaching out to me anyway. They weren't talking to me. They weren't trying to. I only knew that they noticed because my mom told me that they asked like, hey, why isn't she responding one time? But at the end of the day, I made the decision to let somebody know I'm not going to stand in the way of their lesson. I'm not going to enable their disrespect. I'm not going to sit there and keep giving them my energy when they're feeding off of it because I'm a good person. I have a good heart. They're feeding off of it. I'm not going to sit here and keep giving it and giving and giving it until I'm empty. And they have all of this from me and they're still around me. And I'm like, what? If you don't like me, like why do you even talk to me? Why do you even talk to me? Like it makes them feel good because they're like, they have this little pet, this little dog almost that will listen to anything they say, do anything they ask just because they're a little people pleaser and they know they can disrespect them as much as they want and they'll still do it. And that was me for my sisters like almost my whole life until like less than a year ago. But anyway, and then having this conversation with my friend this past week and her telling me her story with her friend who's driving or whatever, I was like, dang, like this really applies to a lot of people. I sit here to myself and I'm like, I have all these insecure attachments because this trauma, whatever, but like it doesn't even have to be trauma. It can just be not knowing where your values are and it can be just not having the confidence. When I think growing up before I found God, when I thought about who was I impressing, it was myself. So I did always have that confident, spoke up for myself voice because I knew who I was pleasing and it was myself. It's just my values weren't in the right place because I also didn't have, like the idea of God letting me know that for sure, don't put your family above what's right. Don't hold on to them. And so then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. They're not going to drag me down with them. At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all people. They're family, but they're still humans. They still have the same free will. And I've lived like however much of their life and I've learned, Anyway, I don't really know how long this video is going to be, but I just want to say and make it clear. I think that's all that I want to add. There were some more conversations that I had this week that were pretty useful, but it kind of all intertwines with one another. It's really just about respecting yourself more than you care about respecting others. And it does not mean you disrespect other people or you don't respect other people. It's just respecting yourself more always. You can respect them. Just always respect yourself more, always put yourself more, but don't do that if you don't have your values confident, if you don't have them in the right place yet, because then you're going to keep psyching yourself out and keep doing something that you think is right in the moment, and then later you're like, oh, I regret that, I feel bad, I feel guilty, I feel shameful. Just try it. Just try it. Like, you don't have to go out there and wait for someone to confront you or wait for someone to say something rude for you to do this again. Like, I'm sure there are people in your life, whether it's a family member, a friend, an ex, there's going to be at least one person in your life that you still hold on to, some girl you met at a party years and years ago that you still follow because you don't want to unfollow. You know that you have these random connections with all these people because you're just trying to people please and you're caring too much about what they think rather than caring where your actual values and boundaries for yourself lie. Why would you accept this from someone? Why would you accept this quality of a relationship with someone? Why would you accept this quality of a friendship? Why would you allow this disrespect? Make those ties, cut them off, and then just start with that. Start with that if you've never done this. And literally just even after that, you will feel a release, and like, you have to really do it. Like, do it from every social media platform. Maybe you don't have to delete their number or something, but just like cut it off, make it so that like, you're not going to keep seeing them. You're not going to keep getting reminders and seeing them and be like, that's that person that makes me feel this kind of way about myself, or blah, 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 blah. And even if it does nothing like that, you're still going to feel it in yourself because you're going to be like, wow, I put myself first. Wow, I really just did that. Like, wow, I'm not mean for this. You're not mean. You're not being rude. You're not being rude to anybody. My sisters continue to live their lives. If I really needed to reach out to them, I could have. My sisters continue to live their lives. They continue to do whatever. I continue to live mine. Nobody died. I know that I'm a reflection of the people I'm around, and I didn't want to be a reflection of that. So I cut off who was around me. She was still alive and well. I promise, whatever friends or ex or whoever that you need to take out of your bubble to get that energy away from you. You don't want their negative energy. You don't want them to pull yours out anymore. They're gone. They're gone. You don't need it. Your memories are still your memories, whether it goes this way or that way. Whether you still talk to them, your memories are still your memories. Whether you never talk to them again, your memories are your memories. So if you're holding on to memories, it does not matter what you do next. I think this is literally like the biggest realization that I had like a long time ago. And I was telling it to my friend and she was kind of like, okay, like real. But your memories are always going to be there. I don't know. And if you forget, then you forget. Like, I don't know. It wasn't that important. And I think that's all I have for this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it helped somebody. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and comment any recommendations or any thoughts or questions that you have, and I will make sure to reply and put it into consideration for the next video. Thank you. Bye.